coffee. Isn't that so good? I'm proud of myself. I wanted a pumpkin spice latte because everybody talks about those so much, and I've had them, but like we don't have a Starbucks very close to here, so I made one myself with pumpkin from that pumpkin that Tad, what did he say? He carefully dropped the other day and it split. So I cooked it up and I put some to make a yummy coffee drink, and it's really good. So otherwise, I think I'm going to try to make pumpkin muffins or something. But right now, I was going to go pick some beans. And look, I have we're using an actual basket today because we're fancy. Look at the sky. The weather lately has just been like to die for. It's so good. So I was thinking I want to try something that I haven't done before. And I think I'm just going to use the hyacinth beans. So these are the hyacinth beans, and either you can eat them this way, or obviously you can let them get bigger and do them as a dried bean. I eat them when they're at this point, but I want to try drying them not as dried beans, but as dried like pods. I've seen people where they string them up and dry them. And here's the thing. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube and they call them leather breeches. I cannot bring myself to call them leather breeches because number one, all I can think of is lederhosen. And number two, I would never say breeches. That's just not something in my vocabulary. I feel like a pretender if I was saying that. Like I was pretending to be someone who I'm not. Like, oh, leather breeches. Like I'm this awesome homesteader person whose grandparents passed down knowledge of the leather breeches. But I'm not. So I'm going to call them porch beans because I would like to just string them up on my porch and let them dry there. So we're going to call them porch beans. So we're going to pick these. And I want to tell you about my canning explosion. So the other night I tried to can up some tomato sauce and I was really tired and I wanted to go to bed, and I made some poor judgments that led to the explosion of my sauce, luckily inside the canner. Although the other one, I don't know if you could call it an explosion as much as like it wasn't like a volcano exploding. That was the one in the pot. The other one was more like when it just starts seeping lava. That was what it was like. And it really upset me. And if you grow your own food, like how much work goes into food. It's amazing that we can get food for the price that we can here. I live in America. That's where we get food. It's so cheap because I pulled my jars out of the canner. Even before that, as soon as I opened it, I was like, oh my gosh, no. Can your own food, they said. It will be fun, they said. No, because I knew everything that went into that. I mean, I was thinking about the garlic that went into that I had planted last fall. I planted that garlic. Another bunch right here. I'm feeling the first raindrops right now. So garlic, done. And then it had to sit over the winter. I had to keep it weeded. I had to pull it up in the spring. All right, so we got a whole bed pulled. Here's all the garlic. Bed right here. We still have 3 more to go. I'm excited about it. I had to dry it. The tomatoes that I had picked, that I had planted from seed. Then I had to get them up to maturity. I had to plant them out. You have to take care of them. So I think we currently have probably like, I don't know, a little over 50 tomato plants planted for months, and then I like to roast my tomatoes and garlic together before I do it. So, and then you have to take them and I put them in a pot and I kind of cook them down. I have to put them in my blender. Now, if you're keeping track here at this point in time, how many dishes have I used? I've used like 2 Pyrex dishes, a pot, probably had a strainer when I was cleaning them or something. I used my blender. Like, there's a lot of dishes, and I do not like doing dishes on top of all the months of work that went into having these things grow. I also had basil in there, so that's another plant that I had to grow from seed and nurture until it got to the chance to harvest it. So what happened was I was very tired, and I was rushing to get this done, and I think the main problem is once the pressure, you can turn off your canner and just leave it in there like overnight and just do it in the morning, but I didn't do that. I don't know why. I think because I was tired and I was like, I need these out of the canner. I don't know why. Once it got down to about 0 psi, I was like, that is good enough. I'm so tired. And I pulled off the weight, and man, steam just started pouring out, and I was just like, I don't know if that's good. And once again, I just opened it up immediately, opened up the entire pot, and that's when I saw that the one had exploded. The glass didn't explode, just the top had like flown off of it and made a mess inside. And then I took out the remaining, I was only doing three jars. I took out the bigger jar, I put the jar down, and it sat there for a few seconds, and I was like, it's gonna be okay. And then all of a sudden, it tried to get to equilibrium with its pressure, and it just started coming out of the, it was just sauce, just like over this. I was like, oh no. And I was pretty upset. I'm not gonna use the word devastated because that's way too dramatic for freaking canning sauce, but I was upset. And there was one other jar, and it's okay, but it didn't seal. So you got to think. So now I'm looking at it, and it's like, okay, all these months, all this work ruined to save 15 minutes of my life. There's a lesson there. There's a lesson to be learned there. I know that other gardeners, other homesteaders absolutely will be able to, I wouldn't say commiserate, but understand what that's like, because when you grow your own food, you see how much work goes into it. And like I said, it's amazing that you can buy a jar of salsa for probably still under $2, and if not, probably around $2, which is amazing when you see like all that went into it. Hey, we're getting a decent amount. I don't know how these are going to turn out. Obviously, I've never dehydrated them. Maybe we should just call them lederhosen. Lederhosen beans. These are so gorgeous. Even without the beans, you should grow these just because they are so pretty. I mean, they make the garden. So messy over here, but it's so pretty. Look how wild and just, I love it. Even the weeds, I think it looks amazing. Late summer gardens. I think this is enough for us to go ahead and string them up and do our experiment. How's that latte? Can you call it a latte? It's not like espresso, it's just coffee. I'm not sure even like if that's a latte or, I don't know all the fancy words, but it tastes good, right? Yeah. Right, I brought my sewing kit. I'm just gonna like thread, I don't know, what do you think, like that long? I hope this works, but if not, like there's still plenty of other beans. This is the way my grandma always used to do it. But maybe like my kids' kids can say that. Oh, my grandma used to make porch beans. You haven't heard of porch beans? Yeah, there's this thing that people used to make. People start calling them porch beans like it's some old-fashioned thing. Are we even sure that people called these leather breeches? I kid. I'm pretty sure like there have been enough people who said, oh yes, the leather breeches, I remember that. But I was like, what if the people online, what if someone on YouTube just decided this will be a funny name and they called them leather breeches, and then everyone watched that tape and then they were like, yes, we are now going to make leather breeches. And then it just propagated from there. I hope this is right. We'll find out, right? They say they're called leather breeches, and I'm gonna trust them. You can trust everything that you read online. This gives a whole new meaning to sowing the beans. All right, we did it. Ooh, porch beans. I'm gonna go hang them. I don't know if I should hang them on the porch, probably not. But yeah, if you want more of the pumpkin spice latte, PSL, as people call it, let me know. Thanks for doing this with me. Hopefully this actually works out and we can take a look at it. And remember not to rush your canning, and that real food takes a long time and effort and probably should cost more than it does. So catch you later. Authentic porch beans on the porch.